Welcome to the Pet Health Unlocked podcast. I am Alex Pearson, and as always, I am joined by Dr. Keith WEINGARDT, DVM. We are excited to be here. We're excited to have you listening. We are going to talk today about something that's near and dear to our hearts here at Thorn Vet, and especially near and dear to most your hearts, older and senior dogs and pets. Before we do that, however, I'm going to read something that we were sent by a customer named Marcia. And it's about a product that we have called Canine Cognitive Support, which we will speak about today. But I'm going to read this to you real quick before we start. My 9-year-old mixed breed dog, Louie, started showing signs of sundowner syndrome, starting to stare into space, sitting behind a chair, not interacting in the evenings as soon as it got dark. I'm a retired RN and recognize the behavioral changes. I started him on a daily dose of Thorn Vet Canine Cognitive Supplement and was astounded at the improvement in only 2 weeks. His overall health and personality changes have been a joy to watch. He's happy, energetic, and no longer is withdrawn and spacey in the evenings. He's engaged, social, and wants to play like a puppy. I want to thank you for all the great products, and Louie will be on this product the rest of his life. Whenever we hear that, we love it. It's why we're in the business. I certainly know that's why Keith, who knew he wanted to be a veterinarian since he was just a little kid, wanted to help these animals. It's wonderful to hear that. And it was just a 2-week turnaround. So today, what we're going to speak on, as I mentioned earlier, are our elder and senior dogs. And I want all of you who are listening to this right now to think about the dogs in your life that you've absolutely loved. As I was preparing for this podcast, I thought about all the dogs I remember. The first one I remember, his name was Butch. And my parents bought Butch. They surprised us on Christmas morning, and 3 weeks later, they gave him away. I'm still not sure why, but I was 5, and I'm still traumatized by it. That's how much you love dogs. Poor Butch. I hope he found a great home. He probably did. Jigs was another dog that I absolutely loved that ran away when I was taking a rice check box out to the trash. We did find him. Chester, and then there was a great bulldog named Vito, who my parents had, who lived a long life. And when he died, it was hard on all of us. And now I've got my dog, Marchie. And so as you think about those dogs, it's very interesting to me how much you can love them. They can be there at times of sadness, happiness, but they're always there and you always love them. And one of the most difficult things to do for animals is to watch them get older. And to see what the things they deal with, whether it's arthritis, whether it's heart conditions, whether it's, eyesight. You could go down the list. And one of the things that I wanted to talk with Dr. WEINGARDT today was the geriatric health and older dogs. What do we do? And the first question I have for you, doctor, is when do we start thinking about geriatric health? I know that's probably a bit subjective depending on the breed, right? Like if you have a St. Bernard or, like a Great Dane, a dog that's big and huge, it probably doesn't have as long of life expectancy, might be a little different than, say, a smaller breed. But what advice do you give to your clients that walk in that have an aging dog?
Thanks, Alex. As always, you have very good questions. This is a really good question, and I think I went down this path of integrative care because I saw so many of the limitations of conventional care for our older pets. Many times we max out the medications. There's lots of side effects. They can't, they're unable to tolerate the medications, and there's just not a whole lot of tools in the toolbox in the conventional realm to help the elder pets. So that was kind of what got me motivated and on this path. And one of the things I love seeing old animals, and it's music to my ears when I hear clients tell me it's like you've reversed aged my dog. When you can see a dog who hasn't picked up a toy in like 3 or 4 years, and now they're taking toys and running around the house. There's nothing more heartwarming than that, and that's what it's the fuel for my fire to keep going and keep wanting to help. And I think investment in longevity begins at birth. Okay. Every choice that we make along the path of caring for our animals just sets them on the path of being healthy or having chronic diseases. So thinking about all the things that you do, even from the nature of preventatives, the food that we put into their body, the lifestyle that they lead. Are they getting a good outlet for their energy? What's their mental health like? Are they getting a nice, restful place to be where they can interact with their people and play with their friends and have a low stress kind of situation? Because two big variables we know, stress underlies all chronic diseases, and inflammation is a big bad problem. Okay, so those are the things that I think about from the get-go. So as I've always talked about, you guys, I'm like a broken record. The most fresh, whole field, real food you could put into their bodies is going to be the most important medicine. But beyond that, we want to make sure that we address things as they come up before they become bigger problems. This is the nature of preventative care, and this is why targeted nutritional supplementation can be so helpful. Perfect example. I think we have a tendency to reach for our joint support products once they're already limping. Start them before they start limping. Technically, I think the going, statistics right now is once you have an 8-year-old dog, they're considered geriatric after 8 years old. Okay, so that should be some sort of time frame in your head that we can start supporting those joints. But I start supporting my animals and my patients' joints from the beginning. A fresh whole food diet, good source of omega-3 fatty acids like Super EPA Vet, supporting them with things like Collagen Vet, which are going to give them the building blocks to help maintain that structure. Okay, and then a joint support formula if they need that, or starting it earlier. I always say to my clients, lubricate before it's too late. If they're already limping around and stiff and sore, you're going to have a lot harder lift for them to get better with the joint support. But if you start it before they're showing a lot of symptoms, you're going to have a lot better chance of keeping them moving freely and strongly for a longer period of time. Now, as I mentioned, inflammation is really pivotal in how disease manifests in the body. So we want to start working with that from the beginning. How do we modulate inflammation? Things like curcumin. Okay, that can go a long way, and it can help out a lot of different pathways. Longevity complex, it's aptly named for a reason. Okay, we start that. They don't have to be old. That could be part of your protocol from a young dog that you just rotate through. What about medicinal mushrooms? Okay, medicinal mushrooms are the original longevity tonics. Reishi mushroom is the fungus of immortality. Okay, it was so vaunted by the emperors in China that they would reserve that mushroom only for themselves and their family. Okay, so we can start rotating these things in early on. Certainly when they start showing signs of aging, that's even more important. Okay, and those are the things that we can reach for. Our canine geriatric basic nutrients provides a lot of really important ingredients to support our pets in the aging phenomenon. We incorporate really important herbs in there that are called adaptogens, and those help modulate the stress response in the body. Okay, we have other herbs in there that are going to help with inflammation, and then there's lots of important ingredients in there that helps make sure that all their organ systems are supported from a micronutrient standpoint. And of course, we always use the most bioavailable ingredients, so it covers a lot of bases. As I mentioned, you then tailor the therapy to what that individual needs at that time. So, of course, if they need some gut health support, if they need some liver support, heart support, all those things can play in there. But the brain is a big, important one to support. And that's where was the genesis of the development of our canine cognitive support formula. Because I could tell you over the last 25 years of being a veterinarian, nothing is more heart-wrenching than when an animal starts to have cognitive decline, senility, and dementia. And I find that dogs losing their cognitive abilities is harder on the household than an animal who has physical challenges. When they start, as mentioned in that really nice note that person sent, sundowners, when they start losing their mind, they start checking out, start vocalizing, pacing, losing their house training habits. And when we put together that formula, that was the product of me using lots of different ingredients over the course of several decades. And I said to you, I remember you and Kim, I said, we need to put all this in one place for our people. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did. So we took a lot of ingredients that support blood flow to their brain, that support neuronal function. So the nerves are going to be nourished. We used herbs that have somewhat of a calming yet beneficial effect for blood flow to the brain, we incorporated a really potent antioxidants that cross the blood-brain barrier, so they actually prevent the brain from further oxidative stress. And then we put B vitamins in there, so that's going to help balance the nervous system and neurotransmitter production. So it's just a really comprehensive formula, and it's been really well received. I have a lot of patients who do well with it. And when you're dealing with this condition like cognitive dysfunction, to have something that you can give them an option to support them, it can make such a huge difference in the quality of life of the entire household.
And a question we get often is, Dr. Weingart, and you can answer this with a simple yes if you want, or you can expound. Can they use canine geriatric basics and the canine cognitive together at the same time?
Yes, absolutely. So that actually would be a great combination, because you have all the benefits of the ingredients and the cognitive support with enhancement from all the other micronutrients, covering a lot of the bases, making sure the liver is supported, making sure the immune system is functioning well. There's a little bit of crossover. You may see some ingredients that are in both places, but they're actually going to work well by supplementing each other. So for example, there's a little bit of ashwagandha in the canine geriatrics, and we actually have some ashwagandha that's in the canine cognitive support formula. There's some mushrooms, different things like that. Some phosphorylserine is a membrane stabilizer that we utilize in the cognitive support formula because it's been found to be so profoundly effective for preventing neurodegeneration. And that's phosphorylserine is actually in the canine geriatric. So when you combine those two, you're actually getting a really enhanced benefit.
Sure. And sitting here listening too, I think we can also always circle back to what Dr. Weingart always says about a good diet, a good gut. I also think that maybe the best care for senior and elder dogs is taking care of them from day one, like Dr. Weingart mentioned. It's a lot easier not to deal with getting behind the proverbial 8-ball, you should say, treating hips that might go bad at age 2 and 3 will be easier when they're 8 or 9 for sure. We've seen, like Dr. Weingart said, Canine Cognitive has been one of our best sellers over the last year. It has been, and the Sundowners email that we read was just one of a few. Peaceful Pet, I thought of, Dr. Weingart, and good sleep. I sometimes think of those poor dogs that, and you can think of this as we get older. It gets more and more difficult to sleep. You give, an older dog some Peaceful Pet and some hemp and help that dog get some extra Z's at night, goes a long way for our age.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Alex. So I find the cognitive support formula works really well with the Peaceful Pet, because I find that with animals who deal with senility, part of their pattern is they're always have anxiety and stress and worry, and they're not sure why they're anxious or stressed or worried. So sometimes like Peaceful Pet can help unwind that tension. So they're going to be more able to relax and be comfortable in their body, and then have the other nutrients that are present in the formula do more of the preventative care and helping prevent it from kind of getting further. You mentioned hemp. That's another really, really good one. So our hemp tincture is a great way to help provide additional balance to our older pets. So it works within the endocannabinoid system to regulate hormonal systems. It's a wonderful anti-inflammatory. It has anti-cancer benefits. It's very grounding and balancing to the neurotransmitters. So really, like what I see with older dogs when they take a hemp tincture is just general improvement in their quality of life.
Yeah. And so, it can be, and again, it always comes back to trying to find an integrative and holistic veterinarian that you can trust and bring these issues and problems to. One of the things that I've always thought as well is if you are not seeing a convention, or a holistic or integrative vet, and you're seeing a conventional veterinarian, we always find that they are willing to listen and learn more about supplementation and integrative healing. If they don't know much about it, honestly, feel free to email us anytime on Instagram or at support@thornvet.com. And we can always send them information on an individual product or product catalog, whatever they need. Just like Keith, they'll see the light one day. And we can always help. We also have some literature that we can always provide that have conventional medicines that a lot of doctors will use, and products that we have that will synergistically help them. So anything else to add, Doctor, before we?
Yeah, so I want to circle back, because I do think prevention is the name of the game. And I think if we can start putting in really targeted rotations of appropriate supplementation, even in a very young dog. My own dog, Otis, he's going to be 3. And he's already gets a rotation of longevity complex along with medicinal mushrooms. He's on the mushroom medley. And I also make sure he gets a rotation of other supports. So sometimes he gets the immune support formula. In the springtime, he gets a little round of the liver support formula. So I kind of make sure that we have a good rotation of supports to provide for him so that when he gets to be an old dog, we've done all the work so that he's just going to age more gracefully.
Will you touch on that real fast, Doctor? It's interesting that you said that. I was actually going to bring it up, but forgot to. One of the things that I've always found interesting that you tell me is you don't necessarily need to have your dogs on every single product every single minute of the day. Rotating is actually quite beneficial and at the same time can help, right? If you need 4 or 5 products for your aging dog, it can, hit your pocketbook at times. Well, it might be beneficial, and touch on this before we go, Doctor, where you do 3 weeks of the canine cognitive and then do a week or 2 of the hemp. And if you're going on a long car ride or going to the vet, add some Peaceful Pet. Will you touch on that, Doctor?
Sure. Yeah. So I think having the best way, the way to get optimal results from how we approach supporting our pets is to have not necessarily throw the entire kitchen sink at them, right? Be more targeted in what we're asking the body to do. I'm under the belief that maybe 2, 3 supplements, sometimes 4 if they're really heavy duty. I may even go more if I need to, if it's a really deep disease like cancer. But I try not to overwhelm the body's ability to utilize the information that we're giving it. And there's a tendency, I think, in the space to over supplement. And I think that can become too much noise and very confusing for the body. So I think for example, like Otis, he takes Peaceful Pet in the morning because it helps him. Yet he also is on the probiotic support formula. And then I'll rotate in our mushroom medley. And then when I finish up with the mushroom medley, he may get a course of longevity complex. We're in the springtime. It's the time of the liver. Okay. So I'm going to put him on the liver support formula right now because I'm going to help with any sort of potential for allergies and helping deal with any extra histamines and those types of things. It's also just a really good time of the year to do housekeeping and open up those avenues of detoxification. I'll also consider some collagen support because he's a very, very active dog. So I want to make sure I'm giving intermittent support and additional nutrients to help repair and build the connective tissue structures of the joints. So I kind of find just rotate through these things. And then, like, for example, if you have an older pet who's got heart disease, well, he may go on the heart support formula, right? But then you can give him a little bit of super EPA vet, and he may need some joint support. But you can also remember, if you end up having to take supplements for the longer term, give them little breaks. One thing that I do for chronic supplementation is I'll do 5 days on, 2 days off, or I may do 3 weeks on, 1 week off. So that way, what you're doing is you're giving the body an ability to flush these things out and let everything kind of reset. So they're not just chronically having the burden of too much stuff going into their body.
Just wonderful advice, Doctor. I love it. Every time I hear this, and I don't know if everybody out there feels the same way I do, but not only do I want to take better care of my dog, but better care of myself when I hear all these different, options and things that are going on in our bodies. And so please, for those people that are listening, like us on Facebook, Instagram, send us any questions you have. We've got Dr. WEINGARDT always in our corner to answer any questions you have. And I love the advice you just gave about 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 5 days on, 2 days off. Anything in excess can be bad. So you want to make sure that you've got people in your corner. Another thing that we can always try to help out with as well is if you can't find a holistic doctor, shoot us an email. We've got people that we can reach out to in your area, most likely that we could hopefully set you up with. So thank you all so very much. Dr. WEINGARDT, as always, thank you. Join us, go to YouTube. We'll be putting more podcasts out. Send us questions. We'll be doing individual question and answer periods here in the near future. And we appreciate your loyalty and all of you. Pets are the best.
Bye-bye. Pets are the best.